first of all, how the DOJ has caused a problem in the past. Okay, so there are instances, every organization has a bad actor or two, and police brutality can occur, police misconduct can occur. We prosecute police brutality, police misconduct in my division, in the Civil Rights Division. I think we just got a prosecution this week of somebody who abused his trust to assault women in custody.
4 women, yeah.
Yeah. And so, but again, looking at this critical race theory approach towards restorative justice, you see from people like Kamala Harris and other people like that, sort of these woke prosecutors, their view is, well, there's a bunch of people who are African American who have been incarcerated, and there's over-incarceration. So let's solve that problem, not by perhaps offering opportunities to people in the inner city and helping them out of that lifestyle, but let's just arrest fewer of them and incarcerate fewer of them. And if a cop attacks somebody or happens to arrest somebody and uses extra force, let's put the whole police department under what's called a consent decree. Again, the Civil Rights Division is what has been doing that for decades now, enforcing entire sheriff's departments, police departments, cities to pay a federal court monitor tens of millions of dollars to supervise the police, make them fill out a bunch of extra paper. What happens? Good cops decide they would like to go across the river and work at that next police station across the next county that doesn't have these dumb issues that they have to deal with because they're not the one who arrested somebody falsely or shot somebody or did something wrong. They just happen to work in that police department. Everyone is paying the tax. And so the tax includes on the citizens a spike in crime because that's what happens when the cops can't do their jobs. And so cops get disciplined for doing their jobs. So they stop doing their jobs. I saw this in real life in the riot that took place in 2016 in San Jose, California, where I went to support my favorite candidate, Donald J. Trump, who came to speak at a rally there. It was only, I think, his first rally in California. He spoke at a big, convention center there. And I did the Pledge of Allegiance. It was a beautiful event. My husband and I went. My husband was a huge Trump supporter like me. We got to meet him backstage. I did the Pledge of Allegiance. He had a beautiful speech. And then we leave. And there's a bunch of cops there, of course, as a presidential candidate under Secret Service protection there. He got to speed out to the airport. But what happened next was really shocking in America. I'd never seen it before. There was a violent riot waiting for us when we left. And there was a bunch of cops. And these cops stood there and watched. Worse, they blocked the exits to safety. They would not allow us to go to the shortest route back to our garages where all the cars were parked. They trapped us in a canyon of violence and fear. People ranging from teenage to in their 70s had their glasses ripped off, hit in the head with bags of rocks, violent attacks on American citizens in San Jose while 250 riot gear-clad police stood there and watched. I mean, it's a miracle that I didn't get injured. My husband and I and a friend of ours were able to barricade ourselves in a restaurant before they shut the doors. And I sued the San Jose police for creating more danger. I mean, they're not required under the law, unfortunately, to actually intervene, but they are required to not make it more dangerous for people, like blocking the safe exits. So what I learned in that case was, it wasn't that the cops didn't like Trump or something like that. That was not the case at all. The mayor did not like Trump. He tweeted some nasty things about how we kind of were asking for it. But it has become standard police practice in the United States to not engage. DOJ is responsible for that, in a way. Because when you engage with a riot, some people are going to get hurt. Some bad guys are going to get hurt. Maybe a couple of not so bad guys are going to get hurt. But we've tied the hands of the police to the extent now that they can't do their jobs, and they stand there and watch while rioting occurs in our American cities, in Minneapolis and Los Angeles and, in Louisville and you name it. And so the average citizen is defenseless. The average owner of a shop is defenseless. Mayhem and rioting and looting takes place in our cities. And we have come to accept that as a cost of society. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. This Department of Justice is not seeking consent decrees routinely for the occasional bad cop doing something stupid or illegal. We're prosecuting that cop. We're prosecuting potentially that cop's supervisors. We're forcing change in those policies. But we're not going to put the whole city at risk and all the citizens at risk for one or two people's mistakes. That's not productive. It's not what the citizens deserve. It's excessive overreach by the federal government. We are dismissing consent decrees. I've dismissed numerous consent decrees or consent decree investigations